Welcome back to Creative Conversations. I'm Mia Moore, and each week we sit down with a guest to uncover their unique journey, share insights, and maybe even discover what fuels their creativity. Whether you're an artist, a dreamer, or just curious about the creative process, you're in the right place. Let's get started. So today I'm thrilled to be joined by Kim Gray.
Hello.
We would love to know just a brief outline about why you're here today, your creative process. What do you do?
Yes, hello, thank you for having me. I am Kim Gray, as you said. I am very creative, but I feel like I've lost my creativity along the way of becoming a mum. So I'm here to spark my creativity back, and I'm hoping to start my own podcast, and this is a great way to start.
Excellent. A good introduction.
Yeah.
Feed off of us, see how you get into the swing of things.
Yes.
Yeah, lovely. So you have mentioned obviously that you're in your mummy bubble and you're trying to get out of that now and kind of get back into the real world, the old you or the new you even.
Yes.
Which I can imagine is quite intense, and not knowing where you stand with things. How does it feel? I think your youngest is 18 months, so in that time, how does that feel? Have you lost yourself completely, or can you still see glimpses of you in there?
I think mum guilt kind of gets in the way of a lot of things. So instead of me going out and doing anything, I've just been at home. But of course, when I'm at home, I'm mummy, and that's sometimes it just squashes me a little bit, because I give so much to the children, and that's what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a mummy.
Yeah.
However, there is some, real.
There's some drawbacks with giving everything.
Yeah, you need the energy, and I think that as soon as you step out, even if you go for a run or a walk on your own, you get the energy back. Yeah. And for me, my energy back was when I decided to go back to stand-up comedy.
Okay.
So I went onto a Facebook group that I was already established with, and I just said, has anybody got any gigs? I'm happy to take a 5-minute or a 10-minute.
Yeah.
And then a comedy club said, yeah, we'll have you.
Brilliant.
And as I stepped out of the house with my husband, the kids had a babysitter. I stepped out of the house. I thought, oh no, I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Travelled all the way to Southampton, went into the comedy club, waited my turn, and as soon as I stepped up onto the stage, I took hold of that microphone. I thought, this is my comfort zone.
Yeah. And
I remembered that was me. Standing on the stage and delivering my material, and I didn't use some new material. I used something that I already knew.
Yeah, something that you were already comfortable with. Yeah.
For my own confidence.
Yeah.
I didn't use anything new. I just used something that I knew people laughed at before.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been able to write new material, because I really wanted to get some mum material in.
Yes. Yeah.
But obviously I just use my old material, and then I think from then I've been able to fuel that creativity and think, you know what, that was the buzz that I needed to write the new material.
Absolutely. So is there anyone that typically inspires you when you're perhaps in a creative rut and you're trying to think of new things to write for your act? Is there anyone that kind of springs to mind that actually really inspires you?
Mickey Flanagan.
Yeah.
I'll tend to watch. I'll just go through Netflix and I'll just pick out some comedians to watch. People that I know are going to make me belly laugh.
Yes. Yeah.
And because I've got asthma, I know I'll get my drink ready and my inhaler ready, and I know I'm in for a good laugh.
As soon as the inhaler comes out,
Yeah, I'm like, the inhaler's in here, I'm going to be laughing.
It's business, yeah.
Yeah, so Mickey Flanagan definitely makes me laugh. I've also got a couple of others. They tend to not be mum comedians.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? Michael McIntyre.
Yeah.
He makes me laugh. Ramesh.
Yes.
He makes me laugh. There's, from a long, long time ago, Victoria Wood was always an inspiration to me. As I was growing up, I always thought that she was funny. I used to love how she would get on the piano and be able to sing
Multifaceted.
Yeah.
A real
Yeah.
show that you're watching. Not
Yeah.
just comedy, but it's the whole theatrics that go with it, which I think is amazing. Is that something that you try to incorporate into your shows, or something that you would like to?
I've started learning the handpan drum.
Brilliant.
And it's such a nice instrument because it can do meditative style,
Yes.
but you can also do something really funky, like funky house style.
Yeah.
So yes, I am hoping to get on the handpan into the comedy sets.
Yeah. That would be a really unique turn as well, because it's
Yeah.
not it's something out of the ordinary, not something you see all the time, but something that people can go, she really made me laugh. And especially when she brought out that handpan, it really added to the whole thing. I think having that really niche individual thing is really like a star quality.
Something that somebody will say, as you say, they'll say, oh, that's the comedian with the handpan.
Yes,
Just
absolutely.
just so I'll stand out, because I mean, female comedians still on the circuit, there might be one or two each night, but there's still, across the board, there's still obviously a lot of female comedians out there, and so you have to be funny, but you also have to have something. So so I think it might be quite good. Some of my friends described me a while ago about I used to try and play the guitar, but because I'm so impatient, I would just play anything.
Yeah.
And they would instantly say that I was like Phoebe from Friends. They're like, oh, Phoebe. So I would just be like, smelly cat. Because I couldn't play anything else.
Yes.
Maybe a couple of chords if I really practiced. But I do like my nails.
Yeah.
And the nails don't really go with the guitar so well.
No, that's the only trouble.
They don't really go with the handpan so well, actually. But I've kind
Get
of
some
learned,
extra tinny noises in there as well.
Yeah, every now and then the thumbs, but I've kind of learned to try and avoid it and just use my fingertips.
Yeah.
So so if in doubt, I might just handpan smelly cat. And,
Absolutely. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? you can't go wrong.
Yeah, some cover tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. Just out of nowhere, smelly cat. Brilliant. So what got you into learning the handpan? Is it something that you have always done, or something that it's just you thought you'd try it and give it a go?
6 months ago, I saw an Instagram video, and it was I think it was someone in Poland, I think, but there was paddle boards, loads of them, and they were all on a dock.
Okay.
So it was almost like, if you could imagine a bird's eye view, it was almost like a flower.
Wow.
So the person in the middle was on like a jetty.
Yes.
And it was all kind of like how a child would draw a flower.
Yeah.
And then in each of those bays, there were different people on paddleboards, but they were just laying down, and there was somebody in the middle, and they were playing the most incredible instrument. And I thought, what is that? I need to know what that is.
Yeah.
And so I had a look at it. I found out what it was, and then I started to. It's like a door, isn't it? You open a door. And I started to find all of these people. So I found a guy called Malte Martin.
Okay.
Who is a handpan player. I found the handpan gentleman.
Okay.
And the two guys, they're incredible. Actually, one of them is Hunter from Gladiators from the 90s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So found those. I found Amy Naylor.
Yeah.
She is incredible. And I thought, actually, I could probably watch these people and play. And so I ordered myself a handpan. And while I was waiting for the handpan, I used my steering wheel.
Excellent.
So when I was in traffic, I would use the centre, and I would start to play, like just tap the rhythms.
Brilliant.
On the steering wheel. Not while I was driving along. I was doing it very safely.
Yes, just a disclaimer.
Yeah, it's just a disclaimer. Yeah, do not do it while you're driving. And then my handpan turned up, and I just couldn't be more excited about it.
Wow.
The sound, even if you can't play a rhythm, just a couple of taps, and it sounds beautiful. I've got obviously the children. I've got an 18-month-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and they all play.
Wow.
And they sit and they that sometimes if they've been fighting or whatever, I'll get the handpan out, and the girls, the two older ones, they will just sit opposite each other, and one will play around one side and one will play around the
Wow.
other, and they just have this really nice, it's just the sound is tuned to a vibration that is actually very relaxing for your brain.
Yeah.
So even if you can't play
Anything
a
specifically.
set tune, yeah, it sounds so nice.
Wow, I've always loved the sound, and I used to go to quite a lot of Kundalini yoga classes, and often my friend would bring one along, and it was just so soothing, and the whole tone and atmosphere of the room would just completely just settle, and you could just feel everybody relax because it's such a beautiful tone, and again you can almost feel the vibrations coming from it, but they're really beautiful. So it's a wonderful thing that kind of you've learned to do. Is it something that you would ever teach, do you think?
I'd love to be able to teach it.
Yeah,
but I'd have to then have I don't know, say 10
yes
handpans, which would obviously require a bit more planning.
Yes,
but I am starting handpan meditation
amazing
session.
Brilliant.
So I've got a couple of friends who have kindly said that they will be my guinea pigs.
Excellent.
So I'll be doing that actually next week.
Oh, how exciting.
And and then they'll give me some feedback, and then I'll go ahead and start doing a couple of sessions.
Excellent.
But floating ones and...
Brilliant. So will that be based in Chichester? Will you be doing those?
Yeah, Chichester and surrounding
Brilliant.
areas. But I think there's been sound bowls and there's the sound gongs, and so I'm going to kind of come in there with a sound handpan.
Excellent.
I'll have some other instruments as well, but I think my main...
But ultimately, your focus is the handpan.
Yeah, because I think if you sit and you listen to meditation music, obviously it's a tune, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
And so you can kind of melt away to a tune.
Yeah.
I've done so much actually in my life. I've actually done massage course and Reiki course.
Wow.
And so when you give these treatments, you obviously give them with the music, don't you?
Yes.
And so music is such a big part of it. So even if you were just to not do anything, you were just to lie there and not have a massage, which is the sound bath, you're just relaxed by the frequencies of the music.
Absolutely. I think the handpan is going to become your signature thing. It's going to become your logo, I think, for Kim Gray. Handpan.
Yeah, I'd like to be the best handpan player in the South Coast.
Well, you heard it here first. Brilliant. I think it's lovely to bring in some different instruments as well, because you're not necessarily taught those kinds of things at school. I know that generally, for myself speaking, it was you learn the recorder or you learn the piano or the keyboard or a little bit of guitar, but I think to kind of broaden the use of beautiful instruments that can actually benefit us, and I also know that there's some health benefits you can get from the frequencies as well, from music as well, so it's not only healing and relaxing for us but enjoyable at the same time. And just before we came live on the podcast, we were talking about you wanting to set up a podcast, and how is that kind of process going? How are you feeling about that? What stage are you at?
I'm at the stage where I've got a mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great start. Excellent.
Yes, I don't have any software or laptop. I think my laptop's pretty old, so I'm probably need to update that. But I've definitely got some guests who are some fellow comedians.
Brilliant.
And hopefully they will bring laughs, a lot of laughs.
Lots of belly laughs.
Yeah, lots of belly laughs. So that's the idea. I think I went out a few months ago, and I don't go out very often anymore, and I went out with a couple of mum friends, and I really didn't want to go out, and they kept saying to me, "Are you coming? Are you coming?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't really know." And the thing that got me to go out was thinking I might potentially have a belly laugh.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to go out unless I can be completely myself and I can just laugh really loud.
Yeah.
You know, and go home feeling better. And that kind of spurred me to think that's what everybody really needs.
Yeah.
And sometimes people say, "God, I don't remember the last time I laughed like that." Well, that's really sad, isn't it? Like, you need to be able to laugh, belly laugh, to the point where it hurts, I think at least once a month.
Yeah.
At least, because it's good for you.
Yes.
And so I think what I'm trying to do with the podcast and, you know, then the ripple effect of that, so would be to get a guest who we can have a laugh, we can find something that's really ridiculously funny, we can laugh at it, and then we can have the sigh at the end of the laugh.
Yeah.
And if you can just sigh that into a balloon, hold it up in the air, and you can carry that balloon around all day, I think that would be incredible, because then people have got the tools to be able to keep that feeling.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's so difficult sometimes to remember the last time you had that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to do. But as I was thinking about what, you know, all of these things, having a child, and, you know, where am I going to find me again?
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'm almost like two people. Like, I want to do all of this comedy.
Yes.
But then I'm very calm and I want to do all of this relaxation. But if I'm doing a sound bath, but people know that I am a comedian, are they then going to worry that I'm going to laugh at them?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to. And if people can trust me and they know me, then they should be able to know that actually the holistic approach is that actually what we're trying to achieve is to feel happy and feel better.
Yes. Yeah.
And if that's done by laughing or if that's done by relaxing, then it's good.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just hasn't been done before, both of those things, because I think people are either a sound healer or they're a comedian.
Yes,
and
rather than combining the two.
And I thought, is it possible to combine the two? And I thought, yeah, you know what, I can combine the two. I can just creatively put them all in the same thing, and the idea is that we are happy and we have tools to maintain that happiness even when we don't feel happy.
Yeah.
Because I think probably you've probably done it, and I've probably done it. You know, if you're crying about something, you're really upset about something, and somebody will come along and they will make you laugh.
Yes, it's almost a natural approach, isn't it?
Even if you're really sad, somebody will do something and you'll be like,
yeah,
and then you'll suddenly laugh at something.
Laughing through the tears.
Yeah, you're like, are you crying or laughing? I can't tell the difference. And it sounds very similar.
Yes, it
crying
does.
and laughing. And I think, well, you know what, we could just team those things together. Even if you are sad, you can find something to laugh about.
Definitely. And that's something I've kind of taken forward in motherhood as well. When my son is having a little squabble about something to himself, and he'll just be a bit tearful, I just go in, do a little funny dance, and he's laughing again. And I can always see a reset in him. You can always see it in his eyes that he's gone, oh, I've got some endorphins pumping, I'm okay, things are fine. So I think it's really important nowadays that us as adults, we do that as well, because society can be so miserable, and especially with social media, that you're fed what people want you to see. So I think we're less grounded nowadays, whether that's forced or whether we simply forget or don't know how to. So I think people like yourself that bring us back to our almost like native people, as in celebrating music and being happy, it's really important. And you providing laughs and the healing approach of music, I think we all need that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I think even laughter, as they say, laughter is a healer.
Absolutely.
So I think, just bringing all of those things together, actually it's not too far away from itself. But I think a lot of the approach to, you know, that's your main element, is if you are a mum and you are able to, you know, pick that child up and say, I'll be happy, we'll do something that's, you know, make you laugh.
Yeah.
Well, adults forget that bit.
Definitely.
And I think everyone needs to nurture that inner self.
Yeah.
And, you know, by laughing, by doing something. And I think when I do stand-up comedy as well, you see a lot of the audience and they are very serious. And they always have this look like, make me laugh now.
Yes.
Like,
almost like it's an actual focus point that you have to achieve.
Yeah, make me laugh. But then if you manage to break through that, then actually you're all right. And there's a couple of the stand-up comedy nights that I've been to recently, they've actually had a rule that I haven't heard before, and it's, you know, no heckling and be kind to the act, and remember they are, you know, they're people as well. And I think that's, you know, bringing in a lot of that kind of mental health.
Yes. And the importance of that.
As well. And I think even the acts, we just absolutely just love laughing at each other. And I hosted a comedy night in December, and the acts were at the back, and they were all like howling at each other. And I listened back to my set, and I could just hear the laugh from the other acts.
Yeah.
And I think laughter makes other people laugh. So
definitely, it's infectious, isn't it?
It's so
it really
infectious.
Is. Brilliant. How do you feel when you are? I know you mentioned it earlier about going to a comedy night, and you've not done it for a while. How do you feel when you come off of the stage? What is the feeling you feel when you have made the audience laugh? What are you feeling inside?
It's like a buzz.
Yeah.
So I was actually told to feel that feeling at the beginning.
Okay.
And if you feel the buzz of a good show, a good gig, you feel that at the beginning, then you've got that excitement to do really, really well.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I still have a really dry mouth when I'm on stage, but I always keep water with me. But because of that, then I'm able to do another one.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I've got down, I'm like, oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, you want to go
do
again.
Another one. And I need to hear it. So I need to record my set, 'cause I need to obviously make sure I go back, because I can't hear anybody laughing.
Yes.
When I'm delivering a set, I can't hear anything. I just deliver the set, and all I can hear is my own thoughts about what comes next. Because my comedy is stories.
Okay.
Very exaggerated stories.
Yeah.
So I do a story, and then I try to do 1 story, 2 story, 3 story, but then I try to link story 3 with story 1.
Right.
And then to start looping them back round.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different techniques, but somebody like Michael McIntyre would use something similar.
Yeah.
And so once I've done that, then I think I go back and I listen to the set, and then I feel really good, because I'm like,
Yes.
okay, now, so I did this bit, and then that one got a laugh, that bit got a laugh, that bit got a laugh, and then anything that didn't really get that much of a laugh, I have to then analyse, was it not funny, or was that just a bit where everybody was really intently listening?
Yes.
To that
or was it
part of the story?
Delivery? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you almost question everything.
Yeah.
Like you say, analyse everything to the nth degree.
Yeah, especially if it's something new. So sometimes I go, okay, I'll scrap that bit out and I'll add in another bit, because I've got loads of material just from life in general, and I've done loads of embarrassing things in my life. But I've also, being a mum, there's loads of things where if you don't laugh about it, you're going to cry.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yes.
So, no one really knows what they're doing as a mum. We just kind of
winging it and hope for the best.
Yeah, just do what we can, don't we? We just hope that the little person is happy and sleeping, but at the end of the day,
and feels loved.
Yeah.
Whilst we're there like a zombie.
Yeah.
Not fed ourselves.
No.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Lack of sleep.
Absolutely, yeah. Working on absolutely nothing but caffeine, yeah. So when you are in the creative process of writing for your comedy shows, how do you get into the zone? Is there a zone that you get into, or does it just kind of happen naturally? Like you put a piece of paper down and it kind of comes out? How is that process for you?
To be honest with you, I don't write anything. I tend to wait till everybody's asleep, or just upstairs, and I'll go into the bathroom and it will just come to me.
Wow.
And my husband will be like, "Are you all right in there? You're just in there laughing." And I thought of something that I think would be really good.
Yeah.
And I'm just in the mirror and I kind of whisper it to myself in the mirror, and then I crack up laughing. And I think if I'm laughing, it's funny.
Yeah.
And then I will tap it into my notes on my phone.
Brilliant.
Or if something happens, then, that I think is funny, I will then put it in the notes in my phone.
Yeah.
For example, I was hosting a quiz night this week, and there was a guy at the bar, around the other side of the bar, and they said to him, "Oh, can I get you anything else?" He'd ordered his drink. "Can I get you anything else?" He said, No, it's fine. And then moments later, when the barman was getting his drink, he went, actually, I will have something. I'll have the peanuts. But then he kept reeling off. He had about 5 or 6 things. He said, originally he said no, and then he was like, actually, I'll have the peanuts. I'll have these crisps, that crisp, this crisp, and a packet of scampi fries. And I just thought, that's hilarious. And so I just popped it in the notes in my phone.
Yeah.
And just thought that could fit in somewhere in a set at some time. And, we'll figure it out whenever it could just fall in with something else.
And how do you find, like, reading back on those notes? Do you find that you've, like, scribbled them in really quickly, or do you take quite a detailed note?
Sometimes it will just be like, guy in bar orders.
And then you know what it means.
Yeah, says no, then orders 10 packets of crisps.
Yes.
He probably only ordered, like, I don't know, 4.
But the exaggeration is what's so funny.
But he's ordered, like, 20 packets of crisps in my head.
He's ordered a buffet of...
4 packets of nuts. And originally he wanted nothing.
Yes,
He's eaten them all in 3 minutes. That kind of thing. So, I'd probably just write, Guy says no to anything else, then orders, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Proceeds to list off 50 items. He's been scanning behind the bar,
really trying to do, healthy January.
Yes.
Not going so well.
Or dry January and he orders 10 pints, He's going, I'll try that. Give it a go.
He's like, if I just have like a 0.5%, actually I'll have a 1.5%.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Or he'll have 3 0.5%, so it's starting to add up.
It's like, it's almost the end of January. I've done pretty well.
We'll let it stretch.
So sometimes it'll just be note form like that, but then if I'm sat up in bed or whatever and I just think, actually I can't really sleep, or I'm putting the baby to bed and he's not ready yet to go in, and I thought of something, well then tap it out as if I would read it.
Yes.
And then once I'm away from everybody else, I would then read it, but record it into my voice note.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and then I'll listen back. And if I listen, and then I try to listen back as if it's not me.
Okay.
So I try to forget that it's me, and then I just listen as if I'm, listening to someone else's podcast, or whatever. And and then if I laugh, I think,
we'll keep that.
Yeah,
that makes the cut.
But otherwise, I think, waffling, waffling on.
Yeah.
Nope, cut that all out. Like, what are you on about?
Yeah, but it's interesting that at that point it felt as though that would be really good for the show. I suppose you can write down a lot and then concisely cut it to what you think is appropriate for the show.
Yeah, I think a lot of places as well, they'll give you a set time. So at the minute I'm kind of doing 10-minute here or 10-minute there, and they're quite strict. So they some places will say, it's a 10-minute set, or a 5-minute set. It's you can do a 4, or you can do we go up to 6, but then we'll start flashing the light at you. Then you've got to get off, or that kind of thing. So what I used to do is set the oven timer.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I put 10 minutes on the oven timer. Then I'd be using the voice record, and I'd be reading the script. But I would then try to do it when I'm not reading, because I don't want it to be unnatural. I want it to be, like I'm just talking to you now, just a story that I'm telling. Because I think the more I write down, the more I end up, it just sounds like I'm reading.
Yeah, the less in theory it is creative, because you're just reading words on a page. Whereas when you've got your personality and characteristics that kind of creep through when you're talking, that's when the audience can connect to you, I suppose.
Yeah, and then I think as well, I do it just naturally if I'm telling a story, and I'll often do it to my dad, because my dad, he'll listen to me, and then he'll start laughing a bit, but he's like silently, and then I'll think he's laughing. Yeah. And so I know I've impressed him, so I'm going to carry on. And then I make the story even bigger and bigger. And he's like, "Oh, Kim, stop!" And I'm like, "Oh no!" Then I make the story even bigger. Yeah. And and so I think somebody or encouraging, or an audience encouraging, kind of just makes the story even better. Yes. And then you really start bouncing then, off the audience.
I suppose it almost becomes like a two-way thing then, almost like us having a conversation.
Yeah.
You're almost conversing with the audience because you're getting some feedback from them. Do you speak to the audience after your show? Do you ever hear what they think, or is it kind of you leave and that's it?
Yeah, I just kind of leave. I mean, I'll kind of mill about, and some of the people will come to me and go, "Oh, that's really good," or just recently my my friends who'd never seen me do stand-up, they were like, "You're really funny." I'm like,
It gives you sound surprised.
Oh, thank you. You know, I have been doing it for about 10 years. I mean, with an interval in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, one of the best places that I did a gig actually was in, is it an island in Brazil called Ilha Grande?
Oh, wow.
There's no cars.
Wow.
There's like literally, I'd made friends with a girl from America, and so she found out I could do some stand-up, and it was her birthday while we were out there, and so she'd made friends with loads of people in the hostel, and she'd told them, "Oh, you know what? This is Kim from England. She can do stand-up." And then it became her birthday, and I was like, "Oh, what do you want to do for your birthday?" She went, "Do you know what I really want to do? I want to sit on the beach with all the people that we've made friends with, and I want you just to do some comedy."
Oh, wow, what a compliment.
Yeah, and I was like,
That's
wow,
amazing.
okay. So, I mean, to this day, we're still friends, but she just remembers that time. And it was amazing.
Oh, wow.
I just, I had my back to the sea, they were just sat, facing me.
How
so
beautiful.
for them, they were just seeing like the sea and and then I just delivered some material and they loved it. Everyone's having a drink, everyone's having a nice time. So that's probably the most exotic place.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Perhaps you could make that your tour. Kim Gray arrives in Brazil and she just moves around different islands doing comedy shows. I mean, that'd be pretty amazing.
I mean, I'm in.
Yes. Well, you've got your foot in the door already with that. So.
Yeah. Can I check my kids on the backpack?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, a bit of baby wearing, no problem. So before we started the podcast, we spoke briefly about your Buddhism. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more about how you got into this, or what you've learnt from Buddhism? What does it bring to you?
I've always been really... I've always been really connected. I've always been really spiritual. And my parents actually used to say to me, "I think you've been here before."
Wow.
How do you know that? How do you know this? And I was only, 5, 6, whatever, and they'd say, "How do you know all this stuff?" Which I obviously didn't know. But then as a teenager, then I started to get into crystals and angel card reading. I was always interested in lots of different things. And then when I was 18, I went travelling. So I was in Thailand, and then the statues of Buddha. I loved that. I loved all of the incense. And then probably maybe I was about 22 or something like that, I went to live in Sheffield and randomly made friends. Funny story, actually. I was in a nightclub with some of my people that who I lived with, and I think I went to the loo and they must have thought I'd gone home. And so I was like, okay, I'm just in here on my own. I'm all right with that. And I don't know why I did this, but I went up to the bar and I pretended I was Spanish. And I was like, I want bebida. And this girl next to me, she was like, "Oh, you Spanish?" But I could hear in her accent that she was actually Spanish. And I was like, "Oh." I went, "Oh no, actually, I'm really sorry. I'm like from near London." And she said, "You're hilarious. You've got to meet my friend Charity." So we went over to the table. It was a small round table, and I went to shake her hand across the table, leaned onto the table, and the table tipped up and tipped her drink all over her. And she was like, I said, sorry. I'm so sorry. I feel like an idiot. I've pretended I'm Spanish when I'm not. And now I've met you and tipped your drink all over you.
Yeah.
I'll leave. And they were like, no, you can stay. I ended up going back to their house. And, and I became friends with both of the girls, but particularly Charity. And I stayed over her house on another night. And in the morning she said, "I'm just going to chant for 20 minutes. I was like, I don't know what that is, but okay, cool. I like the incense that you're burning, so I'll just sit here and chill. Yeah. And she chanted for 20 minutes, and after the 20 minutes, I thought, wow. She turned around to me, I said, "Wow, that's amazing. What was that?" And she just laughed. She just laughed. And she said, it's chanting. I'm Buddhist. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think that I needed to go that far into it, but I quite liked being around her when she was chanting. Life happened and I ended up moving back down to Hertfordshire, where I'm from, and a friend of mine, she was practicing as well, so she was chanting. But then at every problem that I would ever have, this relationship's not good, or this job isn't good. She used to say to me, just chant about it. I was like, okay, well, what difference is that going to make? I mean, I could be saying like, you know, spaghetti and tomato sauce.
Yeah.
Why are these words going to change my life?
Yeah.
And then eventually she said to me, you need to write down 21 things that you want in a man or in a relationship, because I was having really difficult problems with relationships.
Yeah.
And I eventually managed to write it down, but I couldn't really write it at first because it was really hard, because to be able to write down the things that you want, you have to believe that you can have them.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I had to believe that there was 21 things that I believed that I could actually have.
Yeah.
Anyway, I eventually went to a spa with a different friend. She went off for a treatment. I thought, I'm on my own. I'm going to write the list. So I wrote the list. I folded it up. She came back from her treatment. She said, are you okay? I said, I've written my list. She said, can I look? I said, no. I don't even want to look at it. I'm going to hide it.
Yeah.
I hid it away. The years went on. I met somebody and we ended up getting engaged. I still wasn't looking at the list. And I eventually opened the list a week before my wedding.
Wow.
And everything that was kind of non-changeable, everything that wasn't materialistic was on the list.
Wow.
He was everything on the list. And the only things that weren't on the list were like, you know, a big house, a really smart car, like
Yeah.
all of those things are materialistic. And so within Buddhism, those are the ego.
Right. Okay.
And so, you know, when you take away the ego, there's a phrase that Buddha used. It said, I want happiness.
Okay.
And you take away I, because that's ego. You take away the want and you're left with happiness.
Wow. Okay.
And so I took away the things from the list and was so kind of set back by everything that was on the list. This person, I wanted the person to laugh at my jokes, and if I was weird, I wanted them to embrace the weird, and I wanted them to not try to change me. I wanted them to just let me be me, and if I wanted to stand on a table in a bar and dance, I wanted them to go, that's my Kim. Not get down, you're embarrassing me. I didn't want that, because that's what I'd had before. And so I thought it was incredible to have that. And then I think as my life's gone on, you know, there's been challenges, and there's always going to be challenges in everyone's life, but it's how you deal with them. And I think within Buddhism, we get excited about these challenges because we're like, yes, bring it on, because I know that I can overcome this one.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
So it seems like an inner strength that's kind of you build into yourself.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think a lot of people need that. Especially again, like we say, in today's society, I think we're almost built to be small. I think so, and it's so important that we kind of have that belief in ourselves. Is it something that you've taught to people, or you would like to teach?
I'm actually emceeing the kick-off for the year for our area.
Oh wow!
This year, because I've been more involved, and so excuse me, they've asked me to MC it, and I think by doing that, I'm obviously telling people I can't come to this arrangement this weekend because I'm doing the MCing.
Yeah.
I can't come to this because I'm busy doing that. And so by me doing whatever I'm doing, I'm teaching people.
Yeah.
Because people then start to get a bit inquisitive. Oh, you're Buddhist, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And so by me just being me, I change who I am, therefore people start to notice.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, it's a faith rather than a religion. It's not something I'm going to say, come, you must be Buddhist.
Yes. Preaching to everybody.
Yes, you must change your ways and your life will be amazing.
Come to this side.
Yeah, but it's, these are the things that we deal with. And if we think about things in a different way, it's mindset. It's all, I've got a friend, the friend who had the birthday in Brazil. She does a lot of mindset work, and she will teach a lot of mindset work, and she's done a lot of work with Tony Robbins, for example.
Okay.
And equally, I will say to her, yes, that is a similar principle as in Buddhism to what is being taught here. And I think there's lots of similarities. As soon as you change your mindset, anything's possible.
It's just going back to your comedy again. I'm fascinated by it because it's something that I just so can't relate to or would just be rubbish at. But when you are, say, in like a creative rut and you're thinking, not feeling very inspired, or I've been so caught up in being mummy, how can I inspire myself? What do you do? Do you tend to watch some comedy acts, or will you go to a comedy show physically? What kind of brings you back into a creative mindset?
I will watch comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm watching it from a point of view of the style.
Yeah.
Originally, when I first learned comedy, I did a comedy novice course.
Okay.
And it broke it down, and for a while it actually ruined comedy for me, because instead of watching the show,
analysing
I was like,
it.
this person's doing self-deprecation, this person's doing storytelling, this person's doing this, and it kind of ruined it. But now that I know what's what, I will find the comedians that are similar style to me, and then I will watch that. And sometimes I have to remind myself, how are they saying it? Are they saying it in first person? Are they saying it third person?
Yeah.
And I think of my own stories, and I think, what's the best way to tell this story? Am I saying it as if I'm relating to you?
Yeah.
Or am I saying it as I'm talking at you?
Yes, yeah.
So that's probably my biggest rut, if you like.
Yeah.
I'll know what I want to say, because all of my stories are pretty much the things that have happened to me.
So it's relatable. You can think back to it. There's memories attached to it.
Yeah, but it's then just saying it in a way that's actually funny. Like, there was a comedian that I watched recently, and he was talking about him and his girlfriend watching Netflix, and they sit down to watch Netflix, and they flick through, and they're saying no, oh, let's watch the synopsis. Or let's watch the trailer. And they watch the trailer and they go, no. And by the time they've got through all of that, they're like, I'm tired, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
And that's me. And so I'm like, that was funny. Now, how can I do that in mine so that it's relatable and whatever? And then I think I need to, obviously, it's really important, I think, to kind of know who you're aiming your comedy at.
Yes.
So I know that I'm in an industry where there's a majority of men, and even sometimes the audience, sometimes I might have to have two sets. Like if I look out across the audience and I see that there are quite a lot of women,
yeah,
I know I'm going to go in with the set that potentially talks about boobs or whatever, because I know they'll be like, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Whereas the men probably won't find that funny, because it's not about the boobs that they think about.
Yes.
It's
not
about,
as relatable.
It's about so then in that case, then I will do a different set, which might be about the gym.
Yeah.
Going to the gym, which I don't go to at the minute. But I used to go to the gym, and there's like things that happen in the gym that everyone knows about.
Yeah.
So just to make sure that I've kind of hit the right spot. So yeah, but definitely by watching other comedians who do the similar style.
Brilliant.
To me, that definitely helps, because then I start laughing.
Yeah.
And I go, oh yeah, I should definitely do.
This is speaking to me.
Yeah. My story's a bit similar to that. I'll do that.
Yeah. And just to wrap up, then, after talking about your wonderful experiences and your varied talents, what is your biggest goal for 2025? What are you wanting to achieve by the end of this year?
Yeah, thank you for asking me that. Actually, my thing for this year is I've set up something called Happy Handpan Panda.
Okay.
And I know it's quite a mouthful, but I tested it out on my 5-year-old and she loved it, and now that's what she says. So the happy is obviously for everybody. Handpan is me and my instrument, and panda is a really just a cute black and white, panda symbol with playing a handpan. But panda actually stands for positivity and negativity define attitudes.
Brilliant.
And I thought that was amazing. And I think, so my creative project is going to be the podcast.
Yeah.
So that we can, bring all of that in together. I'm going to be doing handpan sound bath healing meditations. So a floating one, so ones that are in water, because I think water really radiates with the music. But also doing comedy. So I'll be doing my own stand-up comedy, and I'd really love to teach people. So just do really small people, maybe 10 people in a group, courses for just intro to comedy.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, but I think and then at the end of it, they would then do a performance to family and friends. But I want to raise money for MND Association.
Okay.
Which is a charity that's really close to me. I sadly lost my uncle last year, but he had the loudest laugh, and he used to teach me how to banter. He used to banter with my mum a lot.
Yeah.
And then I got a bit older, and then I started giving him a bit of back chat. Yeah. And then he just moved off from my mum and then just bantered with me. And so I think for me to just do my own creative project, but also with the comedy, to support a charity that, you know, I know that he'd really be proud of. He'd really be proud of me for, you know, getting involved with that and using what he's kind of taught me to kind of get out there. Tools. Yeah, and to make money for a charity. And I think I can, because of the Buddhism, I believe that it's going to be possible. And I think, you know, this time next year, I think I'll be sat in a completely different position. I think I'm like right at the start line. And I've got an amazing journey for 2025. I'm just really excited to kind of get going on it, and and I want to thank you for the opportunity to be in the podcast.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah. It's been a real pleasure to hear your positivity and your passion and drive, I think. So I sincerely hope that this time next year you can be in a very exciting position again, and perhaps we can have you on again with an update.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that.
So that's it for this week's episode of Creative Conversations. You can find out more about Kim on social media at Mum's Choice. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review and share it with someone who loves creativity as much as we do. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Granary Digital. If you have a question, a suggestion or a creative story of your own, reach out to us at podcast@granary.digital. Until next time, keep creating and remember, your story matters. Thanks for tuning in. Creative Conversations was hosted by Mia Moore. It was recorded at Granary Studios, audio production by Granary Digital. Additional production support and editing by James Jones. For more information, visit our website at granary.digital. To contact the show, email podcast@granary.digital. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on social media.